கேக்குது ma'am.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's my great pleasure to welcome
Okay,
each
ma'am.
one of
Okay.
you to this
Ma'am,
national webinar on status of
okay.
women during pandemic. The resource person for today's national webinar is Professor Radha, Department of Media and Communication, Central University of TamilNadu, Thiruvarur. Warm welcome, ma'am. Radha, ma'am, warm welcome. Welcome back to
Thank you,
our
madam. Thank you.
university program. I
Thank you,
call
madam.
upon
Thank you very much.
Professor Muthulakshmi, Department of Computer Science and Engineering of our Manonmaniam Sundaranar University to introduce the resource person.
Thank you, everything, ma'am. Thank you very much. I welcome Radha, ma'am. Good
Thank you, ma'am.
afternoon, everyone. It's my immense pleasure to welcome our resource person, who is my best friend as well as philosopher, role model, everything to
Oh
me.
my God.
So it's giving me great pleasure to introduce her. So let's have a short introduction about Dr. Radha ma'am. Dr. Radha ma'am completed her PhD degree in journalism and mass communication in Manonmaniam University in the year 2016. She has completed her MPhil in journalism and mass communication, Madurai Kamaraj University during the year 2012. She has passed MA in journalism and mass communication, Madurai Kamaraj University 2002. She has also passed this national eligibility test NET examination for journalism and mass communication in the year 2008. At present, she is holding the position of Associate Professor, Department of Media and Communication, Central University of TamilNadu, Thiruvarur. And she has been in the past, she has been as Assistant Professor, Department of Communication from 2009 to 2020. So she has various industrial and field experience. She has received the first Woman Achiever Award in our university in the year 2017 on March 8 during the Women's Day program. And she has also received Best Paper Award in the UGC sponsored National Conference on Digital Cultures, Intersection of Tradition and Modernity. So it is conducted by the Department of Communication and Media Studies, Bharathiar University, Coimbatore. So she is also participated in the International Human Rights Training Program, Canada, from 4th to 23rd June 2017. She has also visited various countries like Canada, England, Northern Ireland, and Scotland also. She has She received the research project grants. So the first project is ISSR major research project entitled Women and Media in the year 2018. And she also received a grant of rupees 1 lakh rupees from National Commission for Women, New Delhi, for organizing a one-day seminar on elder care rights and communication on 2019. She is also coordinating the project on production of educational CDs on the themes child rights, victim rights, and Dalit rights. So, under her guidance, 4 PhD students are doing her PhDs, and I hope one of them is going to complete their PhD soon now. And she has already completed 14 MPhil students, and now one of the students is undergoing MPhil degree under her. So her areas of in research, that is, her areas of research interest are new media, digital culture and society, development communication, cultural studies, and critical disclosure analysis. So she has been the editor of associate editor, peer-reviewed journal, the Journal of Media Studies. Also member of various professional associations. She has she has presented various papers, various research publications in journals, both international and national journals, and she has book published also workshops and seminars. Be an expert, be a come ma'am. Now I hand over the session to our Radha.
Thank you, Dr. Muthulakshmi, the coordinator of this national webinar on status of women during pandemic. Now the section is handed over to the resource person. Welcome, ma'am. Radha, ma'am, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Am I audible? Yes. Okay. So,
yes, ma'am,
very
you
good
are very
afternoon
well
to
audible.
all of you in this forum. Yeah. So, first of all, I would like to thank our Professor Dr. Revati ma'am and Dr. Muthulakshmi ma'am, my good friend, for giving me this opportunity today to be with you all. It's like a homecoming, coming back home in our own university. So it's a very good occasion for me, and I was very much looking forward. So thank you, Madam Revati ma'am, as well as Muthulakshmi ma'am, for this opportunity. And I see that it's a very important topic which has been, deliberated very vastly throughout the country. And it's something like where we are not having much attention, even though it is discussed much. Like today, we are going to see about the status of women during COVID. So we all are aware of what COVID has been doing to us. So before I could just continue, should I be in bilingual, or is it okay if I'm doing it in English? Ma'am, Revati ma'am, sorry for asking.
Many participants are from other state also. Better to be in English, ma'am. And
okay,
many of them are from other states. They may not understand Tamil, ma'am.
Okay, then no problem. I'll continue with English, yes. So we see that there is a lot of issues relating to COVID. So I would like to throw a basic understanding about how women are in today's COVID situation and what are the issues affecting women. So in this context, before I could go into the presentation, let me just give a brief status of what is nearly women globally, when we see as estimated by the UN and different organizations for that sake, we see that women, the ILO estimates that a rise in global employment will be there, and women form 79% of the workforce throughout the world. So this is with the working women status, the women employed. It's not exactly the working women, but the women employed in different sectors. So we can see that being 79% in women employed in different sectors, but still we can see there are a lot of vulnerability, and this COVID has thrown many challenges and many problems for women. So we will be just discussing in this angle. So I will just start my presentation also. 1 minute. Yes. Are you all able to see the PPT?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is visible, ma'am. It is
Visible.
visible.
Okay.
It is seen. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So now, before I could go, so we are going to see on the status of women. Before we understand the status of women, I would like to put some light on what is the position of women in our own country. Like we see that there are different issues affecting women, as we see the gender differences, like the family, at the workplace, the society. So we are seeing in different aspects. We see there is a gender difference. When I mean gender, it is the norms where women are not having equal opportunities in terms of education. And even today we have statistics where the enrollment rate of women students is very, very low when compared to male students. So maybe we have improved after independence. Maybe the entry level improvement is improved. The entry level education status is improved, like as we say, in the primary level, in the high school level. But when we go for higher education, the All India Higher Education Survey, a survey done in 2017-18, show that women entering into professional courses, women entering into engineering courses are less compared to male students. So we see that there is a disparity in not only in terms of education, but also in terms of other related opportunities of job, employment, and then even so this is at the at the education and work front. But we are also able to witness the same thing when we see the issues relating to women. So all of us know what are the issues as we have women in our own home. So this social status where women are in a patriarchal social setup, where women experience a secondary status in the society. So when I mean secondary status, it's like always the preference of we know what our society is. It's a male preferred society. So we can see that there have been instances, and even today you have the female feticide or female infanticide taking place in several districts, and within TamilNadu we can also see in other parts of the country. So like you can see that what happens is all these issues, it is making women more vulnerable. So in this state, when we are able to see because of not proper higher education or professional education or skill based education, the workforce of women are not into into a well paid jobs. They end up in merely paid small level jobs in small scale industries, in textiles. So women are more vulnerable when they are entering into this type of institutions or industries. So we are seeing that because of the lack of education, lack of awareness, lack of rights of women, and lack of different levels of awareness, it's affecting their entire lifestyle. So we are able to see early marriages, and we are able to see dowry issues, we are able to see violence on women. So violence in the sense it's happening at home, as well as it's also happening outside the home. So we can see that the National Crime Records Bureau of our own country of India states that the home is not a safe place for women, because we can see that there are a lot of issues of domestic violence, sexual abuse is taking place within the home also. So not only outside, but women are also vulnerable even at home. So likewise, we can see that this vulnerability of women prone to abuse, discrimination, because we don't prefer women going to outside places or to cities to have a higher education. In most of the villages, people fear for the safety, and sometimes they would not prefer to spend more money on the girl child's education. So in these contexts, we are able to see that this is always having a second place in our society. So now this has been existing. The problems, I'm just throwing some light on the existing problems, because before we go into the status of women during COVID, I think it's important for us to understand what has been happening over the years. Now, even when we take our representation of women in our political situation, we see that only 11 to 13% of our women are in the parliament. And also when we take the gender gap, we are nearly 140th country out of the 180 countries throughout the world. So there is a gender gap differences at different levels. So not only in terms of education, in terms of employment, in terms of opportunities, there is a gender gap. And the gender gap is because of the social practices what we have been having. So the social practices itself, says that women are people who have to be protected, and women cannot go beyond certain levels, certain norms in terms of education, or in terms of travel, because of various other reasons. It's not what to say, it's not something which is planned and violating, but it's always present in a cultural aspects. It's structural. Gender is something which is structural, which is imbibed in our own social systems, in our own culture. So that what is happening is all these systems have made women more vulnerable. So now we enter into our own topic of the status of women in during COVID. Okay, so let me, yeah. So I would just like to have a few things. So my presentation today will be on these norms. So we will be understanding about the status of unemployed women, the status of employed women, and apart from these categories, we also see the vulnerable women of in our own society. So we will be seeing on these different contexts, and we also see what has been the impact of COVID on this particular, on the women, and how it has been affecting them. And also finally we will see what can be done to overcome these things. So my presentation today will be basically on these context. So for the next 20 to 30 minutes we will be discussing on these, and then we will go into certain clarifications, or even you could share some of your observations or viewpoints. Okay, so now to start with women, we see that when we say about unemployed women, so we mostly talk about women at home who are not we cannot say working women or not working women. We say unemployed women because women do work at home, but they are not paid for the work what they do at home. So when we mean unemployed women, the women who are not getting a salary, but still women are found working at home, and the housemaker or the homemakers or the housewives, they are always working. So now here, how can we understand the issues of the unemployed women? So we see that unemployed women have a role at home. So during this COVID, we see that these women are burdened more. They have different roles to play. The women, they are working at home, and you can see that for them the workplace is at home. They do not have a separate workplace as the employed women. So for women, the workplace as well as the home is same. So here they do have certain difficulties, they do have advantages as well as disadvantages, and also how these women are facing issues within the society. So now all these makes them suffer multiple oppression. So when we talk about the women in this particular COVID situation, we will be trying to first understand the different categories of women, and then we will be trying to understand what these particular women face. So when we say unemployed women, we can identify them in these three realms, like home, the workplace, and the society. And at all places you can see the multiple oppression, and why this multiple oppression we will be discussing in the later stage. Okay, so, and when we talk about unemployed women, so unemployed women can be in two contexts. One is the organized sectors. So when we mean organized sectors, the salaried people working in government sectors or private sectors who are receiving some monthly salaries. And when we talk about unorganized sectors, women working in women farmers, women working in construction laborers, domestic helpers. So you can see women in factories, women working so in textile industry. So all these women come under the unorganized sectors. Now for this the employed women, so they earn something because this is a paid work. So when we talk about the unemployed women, here it is this women, it is not paid work. So even though unemployed women are working, but still it is not a paid work for them. But here when we take the employed women, we can see that it is paid work. Maybe the pay differences in organized sector and unorganized sector, it is a vast difference. We all understand it is a vast difference. Okay, so now here we can see that here women, even though women are employed because of our gender norms, as I was discussing in the earlier stage, because of the gender norms, women are found working at home and also in the workplace. So here the workplace is not the same as home. Here you can see that it is a dual responsibility. So it is home as well as workplace. Okay. And then you also have the role of women in the society. So here again we see that there is multiple oppression of women at different contexts. Okay, so we understand that during this COVID situation, I have I mean divided the women into three important categories. What I felt we could understand COVID influence better. Okay, so now here, so the next category of women, what I would say is the vulnerable women. Now yes, the unemployed women as well as the employed women also come into this category. So when we say the vulnerable women, the women who are vulnerable because of their socio-cultural status. So when I say the socio-cultural status, it's because of the social status of being poor, the social status of belonging to different communities. We see caste differences in our society. So the social status of belonging to different society. And when we talk about the cultural status, the marital status, the widows, the women who are single mothers, single women-headed families. So these socio-cultural status of women does make them more vulnerable, and it does have a impact on this women when there is a COVID. Okay, so here again the other nature of vulnerability when women, it's based on age. So when we say age, the elderly women who are more vulnerable. So the elderly women, we can see that most of the time they are all well left alone, or they undergo a lot of abuses. You see the elder abuse, and in this era of where we have everything which is becoming digitalized, and things are moving in the digital era, we can see that these women are more vulnerable. And even to get certain services today, we see everything is e-governance, mostly e-governance. But even to get a pension, an elder pension, or even the reliefs, so I mean the COVID relief for the women to get, they have to I mean they undergo a lot of suffering, and they are all sometimes cheated also. When we see, I mean some mid people play a role in taking some of the money. So likewise we see many things happening based on age. So when I mean age, it's not only the elderly women, but also the children, women categorized as children. So age wise we can see different levels of vulnerability. So when we talk about children, the children who are dwelling in the slum regions, children who are coming from the very marginalized sections of our society. So just imagine what COVID can do to these children, and what will happen to the education status of these children. So today, because the schools are being closed, the girl children, many of the girl children, and people would not prefer to get or spend some money on a mobile phone for a girl child. Normally our society, we are tuned, or we are programmed like we would spend more money or a professional or a course, for that sake we would spend money on the education of a son. We would prefer, if we have money we would give it for the girl also, but mostly the preference would be for the boy. So in that case, even at a village level we can see, and even at the slum areas, maybe some parents understand the importance of education and they try to afford, but still we are seeing many cases where it's seen as an unnecessary burden. So people think anyhow she's going to get married, why to spend on her education, why to put. So here today, because this COVID, this online classes has made children more vulnerable. Okay, so now this vulnerability is also in another context where we can see there is a lot of cases of abuse. The teenage children, the adolescent children. I mean, how to handle. So now you see the parents are engaged in. They are engaged in different pressures. So they don't. The adult children, the adolescent children, the small children. They don't have a common space. So schools were the common spaces where these children used to meet, and teachers were there. They would take care of the psychological well-being, the educational, and they had their co-friends, the friends of their own age for the sharing, for different things. But now all this is being limited, and it is having a drastic effect on the children. And some things are, I mean, we cannot help it. It's just a part of the problem, and we cannot do much on it. But still, I think we have to understand, because most of you who are listening to this are educationists or research scholars, our teachers. I think we need a better understanding of our own students, of our own children, to see how vulnerable they are, more prone to vulnerability during this particular COVID situation. And also, I think this would help us to understand the status of our own women who are surrounding us. Many women around you, all are not salaried women, all are not getting good packages. When you see the socio-cultural status, women working in private institutions, today they are very vulnerable. And today you can see for months they have not got the salaries. And with the meager money and most of dependency. So all these things we can see how the vulnerability has been increasing. So this vulnerability is also on economic status. When I say economic status, it's based on the class, the middle class, the upper class, the lower class, or the lower middle class. So we can see on this class-based differences, we can see that women have become more vulnerable, and the COVID has added to their vulnerabilities. So not only on socio-cultural economic status, but also on age and those things. And we also have another important criteria, health, because today we see that many of the women who are physically challenged women, who are not able to go for to address their healthcare needs. People are not able to go to a healthcare center, and women's health is the least priority in most of the houses. I don't say all houses, but in most of the houses, women's healthcare is the least priority. So women, normally the mothers eat the leftover food, and they don't care much. They always prefer to give to the children, to the husband. And so this is it's culturally imbibed that a woman would not care much of her own self, and she would be caring for the family. So at this point of time, this COVID has made the health of women more vulnerable. So now I think we would have understood the different categories of women. So this is basically what category I have just evolved to understand the impact of COVID. So now getting into what this COVID has done on these women, on unemployed women, on employed women, on vulnerable women, or marginalized, excuse me, whatever we say. So we can see that this how it has been thing. So I would like to say the observations of the UN also are based on, I just like to give the observations of UN on women, the United Nations on women during COVID. Excuse me. Yeah. So, first, I would like to throw some light on the domestic aspect. So, domestic aspect, we would say the home front. So, what's happening in the home front? So, we can see that women have turned to become the primary caregivers. So, even if you have a COVID patient at home, the children's online classes, and then you can see the primary caregivers in terms of taking care of all the needs of the people at home. So now this has burdened women more today, and we see that it has made them more vulnerable, because I don't think women I mean, we know that women take least care of their health, and you see that most of the women have their HP counts very low, the immunity powers becoming low, and most of the women have health issues relating to diabetes, thyroid, different the underlying lifestyle diseases. And mostly when we say the primary caregivers, the mothers, the women above say 25 years, we can see that they are the mostly the primary caregivers. And we also see that these women have to care for all the people at home. And when you see, even when men are at home, we just see, but still the other work burdens come to women. So women have being at home, being the primary caregivers, they have to face both the homework, whatever homework they have, the homework of the children, as well as taking care of the household work, as well as if they are working women, and if they are employed women, they also have to take care of their employment aspects. And women, as we see, women who are employed, because they are at home, they are more vulnerable, and they may be called at any time because they are at home. So they should be available 24/7. So sometimes they get assignments, they get work to be done. So it is very difficult. And sometimes even the, I mean, when we see the employed women, so most of you must be employed women, research scholars, teachers. So we see that this employed women, they find it very difficult because they be in one place, they would have gone to their native place because of this COVID, have a long distance, and then the employment place may be different place. So now if they had to come to the employment, the place of employment where they are working, then they have to leave their family because they cannot take the children with them, they cannot take the family with them. So again, it is a psychological trauma for this women, so leaving behind the family. So this COVID has really made it more problematic. And I think we know it is a crisis, we know it is a pandemic, and it is problematic, but still I think special care has to be given to understand the issues of women. That's why I think we are discussing this topic today, so that we are having women in our own home, in our own workplace, so that we understand them better, and we have a better working relationship, better teamwork and other things, and also the women whom we meet outside, the different stakeholders. So this is the case of employed women. And when we take the unemployed women at home, you just see when they are the primary caregivers, and being unemployed, and even when the husband or the male members are at home, they are looked as a burden. You are not earning, you don't have any thing to contribute to the home, but still they don't consider the domestic work as a contribution to the home, but still they are seen thing. And these women have different issues. So now here there's also, because you have lack of the economic problems, sometimes you have shooted up arguments at home, and there are the rise of the domestic violence. Statistics show that women, I mean, there are many calls coming into the helpline numbers on domestic violence, on women care. You see the number of calls have been increased, the cases have been increased. And today, earlier we had the shelter homes, but because of the COVID, the shelter homes, the temporary shelter homes where women can stay for a few days if they are in a vulnerable situation, if they are in a place where the domestic violence is high, if they are feel very unsafe, they can come with their children, they can stay in the short stay homes. But today, these short stay homes, fear of COVID, now these women are not able to go anywhere. Sometimes you can see women going to their parents' house when they have a issue, when they have a fight. But still, now women are forced to stay in that abusive homes. So some homes are abusive psychologically, some homes are abusive physically, some homes are abusive sexually. So some homes are abusive economically because men don't want to give money for the women sometimes, and some men even don't have money to give them because the earning capacity has gone down because of the economic crisis. There is no money turning out, and then even to the basic needs, the women are finding it difficult. And when it is women headed families, as single mothers, or women who are at where they are having children, where they have to take the burden of the family, it has made their life more critical. And you see that at home, you see this is an unpaid work, and the childcare comes to the women. So when we say childcare, it is more of even taking care of the homework, all those things, and even the safety of the children at home. And when we talk about the women who are salaried, we don't have, people who even go for even in the unorganized sectors, when women are going to work in a construction work or something, you see the working space is a space where women vent out their psychological problems. They share with each other. It's a friendly place where you have colleagues, where you have your women colleagues to share something, your difficulties. But here, this COVID has restricted women within the four walls, and it is a psychological burden for many women to have all the things within themselves, and they themselves have to overcome that. So it is a tough time. Many psychologists feel that it is a tough time for women as well as even men, but the vulnerability for women is more. And so today we see suicides cases coming more. We see men, the case of men suiciding, and even women with the children, suicides with the children had a higher place. And also we can see that when the women who are employed, when they sit with their work, when they are working from home, maybe the teachers when they want to do online classes, and then when they sit with their laptops, people don't like, people at home are more traditional, more conventional, so people would not like, what is this always, being a woman, you don't do your domestic chores, you don't do your household works, but you are on the laptop, you are on the phone, you are so like this, you have different complaints. So it is difficult for women to cope up. But when it is a, say, 9 to 5 job, or when women are going outside, even for different level of work, even though it is a small salary, but still women feel that that space is more democratic, that space is more safe for them. Many women express that. Maybe when we go out, we have somebody, if the house is very abusive, if the house, if you have difficult problems at home, so when the space, when you go, so like we see in Chennai, we see there is a train from beach to Tambaram. So in that train, when, if you happen to get into that train in the morning hours, you see all women who are going for work, you can see them traveling there. So you have a lovely lifestyle in the morning. People share their food. You see many women dressing up, they have their hair done, they have their makeup, and then you see they share flowers, they share food, like that. You have a very beautiful sharing among the women. So this space is being restricted, and this space also heals many women. So once women come out of the house, they forget all the problems at home. Okay, from 9 to 5, let me forget everything and work, and then again going back to the same home. So it is a temporary relief. So this is being restricted for many women. And also, when we say about the economic front, this is very, very important at one point, because today, in today's economic crisis and in today's social setup, the work power of both members, either man and women, is very, very important for a family. Earning, I mean, different jobs, whatever job it is, and whatever nature of job women are doing or employed with, women go for work not to get jewels or put makeup or something, get dresses, nothing like that. So women want to support. Today we see many women giving a supportive role for the men at home. So we see it happened from the earlier days. Even our women in agricultural laborers, women in farming, they all have been supportive to the men at home. So in our society, women's labor is nearly 80% of women's labor is unpaid labor. So this supportive role, so we can see that this has been into a situation of vulnerability, and the people who are losing jobs are more women than men. So normally we see that higher rates of job losses and reduced financial independence and future prospects. So normally when you have women, conceived, or the maternity leaves, maybe in government sectors, or the sectors which are organized, you may have the leave and other maternity benefits and everything. But when it is an unorganized sector, we do not have all these, and women are more vulnerable. And during COVID, it is very easy to just tell, okay, you don't come. I mean, if the people are also finding it difficult, even the firms, even the owners of the small businesses, the small scale businesses are finding it difficult. But still, this has made people vulnerable. It has made the lives more more miserable for the women today. So the financial independence is not there. So we can see that even for future, women are not able to plan, because everything is uncertain. We don't know what will happen next. So because of this uncertainty, and then one more important thing is, today, even when everything is open, schools are not open. So it's difficult for women who are nuclear families, only husband, wife, and children are staying. It's difficult for women to go out, leaving children at home, because we do not have childcare centers. We do not. Our schools do not have childcare centers. Our colleges do not have childcare centers. Our universities do not have childcare centers. So we need daycare centers. So many women, I think, at this COVID crisis, we should really talk about the daycare centers at different institutions, because when we return to work, when we see, and not only the women at the salaried sectors, but also the women in the unorganized, unemployed women, we can see that there is a need for this daycare centers, because when the schools are closed, there is no way for these children, and the children become more vulnerable to child sexual abuse. And we see that today even boys are not safe. Even boys undergo sexual abuse. So this is a very miserable situation, and I think it has to be seen from a larger lens. So that's why I'm talking so much about on these things, because it's not just like that, okay, women are suffering. No, we have to understand the in-depth issues of this particular aspect. So today we see that so women think twice before they go into their job to resume their work. I mean, when the buses not go, I mean, so many women do not know driving, and even if they know driving, they cannot afford. Many women cannot afford to go in private vehicles or self vehicles, your two wheelers, or and they cannot afford to have put petrol always and go. So the public transportation has been helping all these women in unorganized sectors to have an employment. So today, every day morning, you see in the bus stops, you see women who have uncombed hair, women who don't think about their looks, women who don't put makeup, women are struggling for their lives. So they just come, they finish their work at home and they come to the workplace. They're struggling towards working. So you can see this women today, they are put in a fix. So today they have no place to go. They don't have the small savings have gone, and today they have to answer the children with the empty stomachs. So it is becoming more critical. And these women, I mean, when it is a COVID situation, even for construction work, more men would be preferred than women. So women will not be preferred there. They cannot travel like men can. Maybe two or three men can go in two of them, three of them can go in a two-wheeler, but women don't take that risk, or it doesn't happen. So it is becoming more vulnerable, and we do not have job opportunities in rural sectors. Maybe even it's very difficult in urban areas and cities, but still just think about the rural areas where the employment opportunities are not there. Though the government is giving rise, though the government is giving certain relief provisions, money and those things, but we know as people who are running households how far it can go and how much expenses are incurring day by day, and how it would be sufficient or not. So all of us would know. So I've got just few more things. With that, I will be finishing. So the health and well-being, when we talk about the health and well-being, as I was telling, there is a risk of pregnancy. As we were saying, there I mean, the pregnancy rates have been increased worldwide during the COVID, and it also has risked many women on I mean, women's health, because you can see teenage pregnancies, and today many child marriages have been stopped because people see that this is the time they didn't have to spend on lavish weddings. Not much money has to be spent on the weddings, so people fix the marriages of children, and these children again married underage women children, and you can see unwanted pregnancies at a small age when the children are not matured enough to handle a family life. You can see this, and also the psychological impact due to all these related issues is very very heavy, because when women when women are economically, when there is a problem, when there is a I mean, pandemic outside, and you don't know what you can cook next hour, or for the next meal itself is a question mark there. So you have to feed your children, you have to feed the elder people in your house. So it's difficult for both the man and the woman at home. So you can see that it has made the lives more vulnerable, and it has also, like, you see the people, the middle class people, you have to pay the rent, pay the bills, monthly bills, electricity bills, so everything. And even we see the loans, whatever, because based on the salaries, many people would have taken loans. So everything is under a fix, and it is making people more vulnerable, and we do understand how difficult it is. And when we talk about women, it is more thing. And of course, the UN says that the healthcare system itself is I mean, it's not more of women friendly, because we can see the risk of frontline workers. Nearly 60 to 70% of frontline workers are women. Women as nurses, women as health medical assistants, women as lab assistants, women as nurses. I mean, nurses, women working in I mean, the sanitary workers, and then women who are involved in manual scavenging, sweeping, cleaning, in many of the places. And they are the frontline workers who maybe the doctors and maybe the people at a better position get, even they are finding it difficult, but maybe they are getting at least the equipments. But when you see the people who are working on roads, who are cleaning, who are working with that pesticides and all, and you can see that people are more vulnerable. They do not have their minimum gloves, they do not have minimum masks. So sometimes it's becoming very difficult. And you see women involved, and these women are more vulnerable because they work in unsafe conditions, as well as mothers, as wife, or as daughters. When they go back home, they are at a risk of giving the disease to the children, to the elder people at home. So it is a psychological trauma for those women also. Maybe the salaried women can, maybe we have the privilege to be at home, but just the women at the lower cadre of jobs, the women in the unorganized sectors, the women at the fourth grade, I think it's very, very difficult. So I request all of us who are listening, I think we should be able to understand women from different front. Only then we will be able to be more sensitive towards the issues. So these are the basic aspects what UN has given on uh, women. So I think I've just covered. Now what can be done on this? So I've just got 5 more minutes, so I'll just see what can be done on this. So maybe we can see that we need a gender sensitive approach, nothing else. Because when I say gender sensitive approach, this gender sensitive approach should be right from your policies. When we talk about the government, so government should consider the women of all these sectors. So the vulnerable women, the elderly women, the women who are physically challenged, single mothers, single women headed families. I think all this has to be considered, and this women has to be given more importance. The packages, the relief packages, has to be very sensible and addressing to the needs of the women, and also the women, the medical or decisions what the government takes. So the involvement of, when women are involving, the safety has to be ensured. Women need alternate spaces, like I was talking about the daycare centers, because when all the women have to return to work, so all the children would be in a safer places, in their native place or something like that. And these women find it a very difficult place, psychological dilemma to go here and there. So I think all this, so when you are making policies, when you are making certain announcement, I think there needs to be a gender sensitive approach. And even at the school level, at the college level, and even the people who are higher officials, I think dealing with women, even though they are salaried or unpaid or whatever it is, I think dealing with women during this COVID situation is important, because I think we cannot take them for granted to be 24/7, because women do have that, as I was talking, there is this multiple level of oppression. So you can see this multiple level of oppression. You can see both organized as well as unorganized sectors. So here you can see home, workplace, society, in all places women are vulnerable here. So the employed women, and even when we take about the unemployed women home, as well as workplaces, same for them. And they also have to cater to the society's pressures. So when we say the social pressures, it may be because of their status, because of their position, maybe because the woman is a widow, maybe the woman is a single mother. So like that, the social status also contributes to the unemployment of women, and the vulnerabilities more, and they see multiple oppression taking place. And then this the marginalized women, when we talk about the marginalized in terms of socio-cultural status, age, economic status, health, so all these things impact. So COVID do impact the women of all these three categories, and we can see the impact level is in different contexts. It's at the domestic level, at the economic front, at the health and well-being, as well as the healthcare system. So what this does is it prevents women from further opportunities. And when we talk about the different things, we also see how the education of, the prospects of graduates, aspiring young women are being stopped today. So it is a crisis, and I think we need to work together. I mean, the institution should have certain measures to cope up with these issues separately. I think we have to evolve strategies today. The different institutions like the educational institutions. We have to have certain strategies, certain policies with the gender sensitive approach, specifically during COVID. So how can we deal with our women faculty, with our women staff, women at different levels? So maybe the women at a higher position may work from home, but the women at a lower grade comes every day. She travels, she uses the public transportation, or somehow she comes to a job. She has to clean the tables of the higher officials. So it is again, she is vulnerable. So I think this gender sensitive approach to everybody is very, very important. I think in this context, if we start thinking, and if we as policy makers, or if we as women who are working, if there is a mutual understanding and sensitivity, I think we can, maybe we cannot address all the issues, but still we can find certain level of solutions. So I think with this I just end the session. I hope I completed on time. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. And if you have any questions, maybe we can have a discussion.
Thank you, Ma'am, for your informative address and wonderful presentation.
Thank
You
you.
have well brought out to light the vulnerability of women during this pandemic situation. There is only one question from Professor Rukmani. Her
Yes, ma'am.
question is, effortless attempts are taken for women's improvement, but will there be any modification in law and notions?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, so it's a good question. I would like to say, Professor Rukmani, that there are, after Indian independence, we see that there are n number of laws in our own society, and we have laws for every issue addressing on women. Maybe we talk about dowry, we have anti-dowry laws. We talk about sexual harassment at workplace, we have laws, and then we have different laws, indecent prohibition. So you have n number of laws on women, and also this general laws apply. And even today we have this prevention of women from domestic violence. So in a shared household, there cannot be domestic violence, and it cannot be, even if it is your daughter, your wife, or your child. There is no, it cannot be done. So like we do have a number of laws, but the problem is the implementation and the attitude of the authorities who are implementing these yeah, so the attitude of the authorities who are implementing these laws, I think there lies a problem, because normally it is like when it comes to the implementation, the NCRP, the National Crime Records Bureau, shows that the conviction rate is very, very less, the punishment rate. So most of the time the cases are just acquitted. So the punishment is very, very low. And we can see that even in major crimes, the punishment is not there. So things have to change, and it needs a lot of time. But we can be happy about one thing, that is we have improved, but not to a greater extent. But we are improving, we are on our way, and we do have the role of many women groups, many women movements, many sensitive women coming into forums. And today we are talking about women in all forums, in educational institution. I think all this has been contributing to women. So not only law, but also what I would say is every individual's responsibility lies. So to implement law and to put this law into action, I think it's a role of everyone. And only when we create sensitive people, I think they would be sensitive officers to take forth these laws and put everything in place. So until then, I think it is a question mark, and we have to go miles. It requires, I think we have to go miles. Yes,
Ma'am, there is another question
yes, ma'am.
from Professor Sujata. Please
Yeah.
say some remedial measures and some tips how women will not face all these problems. What should be done by the women to overcome
Okay.
the problems?
One thing what I would like to say, it's a good question, ma'am. I think all of us have this. What can we do? I think this comes into our mind when we hear about all problems. One thing is it has to be seen as a social problem. It is not only the women can do something about it. It has to come from all front. So I would like my liberation. I would like my freedom. I would like my education. I would like to earn. I would like to have a life without violence. So women do like freedom. Women would like to live a violent free life. Everything women, there is an aspiration within women. Every woman, it is there. They need to live a peaceful life. But what makes them more vulnerable is how the society is dealing with them. So I think there needs to have a change in the society itself. The outlook of the both men and women has to change in this context. And I think as women, what we have to do is education is one of the important tool. As educated people, most of you who are attending this thing, we know that education has changed many women's life. But still, this education which is in papers alone doesn't make a difference, because even today we see many earning women members, they just hand over the salary at the families, and even for their bus fare they have to depend on the family members. So economical independence is not there, however educated people are. Today we see many working women employed in sectors undergoing domestic violence. They are beaten up, they are vulnerable to issues, they are threatened at home. So I think psychologically women have to be strengthened, and we need such type of trainings for women where women are psychologically strengthened. And this strengthening should not take place only for women but also for the family members, and it has to start as a mass gender sensitization program at different levels. So it is a social issue which cannot be dealt only by women or only by men. It has to be dealt by everyone, policies, government, institutions, everywhere. I think the role of everybody can bring changes, and it cannot happen immediately. It will take time. Maybe today we are seeing many men helping, contributing with the women at home in the domestic work. We can see that the things are slowly changing. So the gender roles, we can see it is being changing. So today you see the gender roles are changing. So today, if your home is, if you have dirt on your floor, today even the man tries to clean it, and even the women does it. So the gender roles are changing. Today we are having sensitive men coming up and sharing the roles and responsibilities. So this education, this level of awareness and the movement work, I think all this can contribute, and it is a process. It cannot happen in one day or 1 year. It is a slow process, and this type of awakening has to take place at different level.
Ma'am, another question is submissive nature of women makes her vulnerable? That is from Dr. Birsing.
Okay.
Dr.
Submissive.
Birsing.
Yeah. See, when we are submissive, we take more burden when we are submissive, and somebody else is having the benefits of our submission. So when you have certain benefits, you feel comfortable, right? So if I'm giving you a chair to sit and I become very submissive, and if I sit on the floor, maybe you will feel very comfortable to sit in the chair, right? So you don't want to give that chair to me for even for a short time, until you are a good human being, right? So if you are a good human being, maybe you would say, okay, you sit for some time, I will sit for some time. No, but it doesn't happen in our lives. I mean, people are more selfish. People are human nature is losing its values. So today it becomes okay. It's fine. A woman's nature is becoming submissive. So she's okay. She's fine with, even if she eats little, she's fine. Even if she eats the leftover, she's fine. So my mother doesn't bother. She's not complaining on food. She doesn't ask for variety of food. Whatever is there, my mother will eat. But my father is not like that. My father needs variety. My father needs this, that. So you always see that women are seen to be adjusting. Women are seen to be submissive, as you say. Women fear questioning. So because of being like this, we are making or helping somebody else to have a better position, and until that better position, people will not want to give up that better position. Just think, the wife does working as well as cooking everything. The man at home would feel very comfortable because he can work only in one place. After coming home, you just read your newspaper, you see your mobile phones, you are active in your Facebook, and that's it. But when women says, it's only when a man understands and a women also understand, this is not, being submissive is useless. It's not going to help all women. So women have to understand that being submissive will not help you. You have to be assertive, and you have to, because only then you can live for some more years to take care of your family, for your children. So always just think women taking pressure at workplace, at home, and then what will happen to the women's health? So many women are becoming more vulnerable health wise because of all these things. You are working at home, you are working at the thing, all stressful, and there is no work sharing. And immediately, when you are, because of the submissive nature, you don't say no, because refusal is a skill. And when women don't have that refusal skill, you take up all the burden, you take up all the work, and you start keep on working. So you have a lot of stress on you, and this stress can have health implications, and your lifetime would be reduced. Today we see many women having thyroid issues, diabetic, pressure, all these things come for women. So I think it can make the other male members or family members more comfortable. So this sacrificing or this submissiveness is not going to help our women or even the family. So only when there is some democracy in the family, equal opportunities, your women at home can be healthy, and your family can be healthy, and you can have a very healthy life. I think if we need that, I don't think submissiveness is a nature what we have to carry along with ourselves. No, I think being assertive, telling no, I can do this much, you can do this much, so let us share it. So I think that negotiation, that democratic space has to be in every family. So for this, we have to work hard today. Yeah. Hello. No, I can't hear you, ma'am. No.
I'll repeat it, ma'am. Amida
Yeah, yeah.
Radhakrishnan. She has
Yes.
raised a question. There is an evident pay gap that exists despite the various efforts taken so far. And
Yes.
also, society often tend to overlook women in all fields of sports, politics, etc. What's your opinion regarding?
No, just once again, ma'am, I did not get the question. Once again,
Ma'am,
ma'am, please. Sorry.
there is
Sorry.
an
Once.
there is, oh no, ma'am. There is an evident pay
Yes.
gap, that is pay
Yes.
parity she is asking for, pay
Yes.
gap that exists despite various efforts taken so far, and the society often tend to overlook women in all fields of sports, politics, etc. What's your
Yeah.
opinion regarding?
Ma'am, this gender parity is like we have the gender getting into our the gender characteristics what has been told to us from childhood. So we are taught that certain things is specific for women and certain things are not specific for women. So, for example, maybe we are taught that women are not strong physically, body wise. So maybe women cannot involve in hard jobs. So this mentality has been fixed into our social cultural traditional aspects. So just I would like to put some light on this today. It's a good question because we can understand the basic gender identities in the society. So maybe we can get some clarity on this based on this particular question. So we see that we think and we have a belief, our own belief system is that women cannot be involved in certain jobs, women cannot work equal to men. But our understanding and our observation, just imagine why Maleshwari is able to do weightlifting, why Mary Com is able to involve in her sports, why there are women pilots, why are there women doctors. So it is not a question of being man or women. Today we have women military officers. So it's not the question of physical fitness. It's just the understanding that men can do this and women cannot do this. It's not. So what I would like to, reflect all of you is just think and see. Once women have the practice of doing all these things, only the practice makes a difference. So all men cannot do weightlifting. All men cannot involve in boxing. The same thing. So now, only when there is a practice, when there is a practice of women getting involved in different professions, I think this can be the demand for equal pay all this can come, and there should be a belief and opportunities also should be given to women in different sectors. So these are easily done. Maybe it can be done in organized sectors. So today we have women in banking, women in governance, women in different maybe your pilots or whatever it is. It's because of the practice women are trained equal on par with men, so women are able to cope up and women are able to go on. But when we see the unorganized sector, still it's the man's arena. Though we see women in the agricultural sector, women also work from morning till evening. You go to a village, you see how much of hard earned labor a woman does. But still, there is disparity in payrolls because of the gender discriminatory thoughts, prejudices, which is held strongly within the society. And we do not question these prejudices, we do not question these biases on based on gender, and it's no, and everywhere it is justified. Yes, women cannot do this, so women, I think as a women, don't involve in hard jobs. So I think these things also has to be changed, and we need more women involving in different professions. And when women become the decision makers, and when you see more women, of course then these things can be overcome. So I think it has got mutual role. It has, from the women's side, women have to come forward to take up different tasks, as well as the policy level changes has to be implemented. Yes, but in when we see in organized sectors, there is not much of pay disparities, but in unorganized sectors, we do have the pay disparities. So it has to be made as a common thing, equal pay for equal work. Yeah.
And it seems, ma'am, should women stand for themselves, and should they not expect any outside person to help them?
Yeah. Okay. Women should stand for themselves. I think women have to be confident, women have to be assertive. And normally we are believed that women have to be sacrificing, women have to be submissive. I think these thoughts have been instilled to us from the childhood. So we say that as a woman, you should be like this, you should be like that. So I think these things have to be de-learned or unlearned, whatever it is. We have to understand that we have to be assertive, we have to be confident. I think our diversions today, many women's diversions today, is taken away by the media. Being a media teacher, I come from the department of mass media. Being a media teacher, I see that today our preferences go much for the beauty context, like our looks, how do we look, how much do we spend on the looks. So today women are more into these things, and today the worriness, everything. I think women should feel more confident, women should be assertive and stand for the right thing. And when you are standing, there is a lot of and we can do it. And we do have men who play a very supportive role, and it is not that all men are bad or all women are good. So today we have women who stand against women, we have men who stand with women. I think only the ideology matters here. So if the man respects women, and if the women respects man, and if there is a mutual respect between the two, I think that is a social equality. And I think we should strive hard towards that. So there should be a mutual respect between the two genders. Only then we can make a difference. Otherwise it's going to be a tragedy, and it will not continue. And again, in throughout history, and even when we take our own Indian history, we see that men had the platform to talk for women rights. So because you are asking whether women should stand for ourselves, it has in our own history, just reflect and see for whose rights did Raja Ram Mohan Roy stand. So Raja Ram Mohan Roy fought for abolishing child marriage, widow remarriage, women's education. And you see Ambedkar, you see Jyotirao Phule, and you see also our different leaders for that sake. And you have our Bharadiyar, Periyar. So you have our all, most of our men, our own men have stood for women rights. They have been ferociously more fighting for women rights. So I think the men who are cultured in the real sense, men who are educated, I think they would stand for women rights. And the women also, I think it is a mutual aspect in a society, as we are social human beings. So this mutual respect to each other, being a man or a woman, I think it can really be a solution to many things. So I would say that, yeah.
Thank you, ma'am, for all your patience in answering the questions put forth in the chat box. Thank you for accepting our invitation. We never consider you as outside the Manonmaniam University. We
Thank
still
you.
continue to think that you are with us in Manonmaniam Sundaranar
Yes,
University.
thank
Let
you.
us
Thank you
continue with
so
that.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you
ma'am.
so
Thank you for
much.
accepting our invitation. And there are so many good compliments for your presentation. And
Yes, ma'am.
everyone has appreciated your presentation, ma'am. Some of
Sure, ma'am.
the presentation, the slides I have taken, I'll send it to your mail. And some of the participants are asking for your PPT. If possible, you
Sure,
send it to
ma'am.
me.
Sure, ma'am.
Uh,
Sure, ma'am. I
uh,
will send it, ma'am.
some are asking for the PowerPoint also, ma'am. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. And thank you for having spared more than 1 hour with us for the national webinar. Thank you, one and all, my dear participants. You'll get your certificates through your Google Drive. And please wait for your certificates. Within today, you'll get your certificates. Thank you, Muthulakshmi Madam, the program coordinator, who has been with us for nearly 1 hour. Thank you, ma'am, for all your efforts in coordinating the program. Thank you, one and all, my dear participants.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
ma'am, for this opportunity. Thank you very much, Revati ma'am,
ma'am.
Muthulakshmi
Thank
ma'am,
you.
and all the authorities at the university. So it was like a homecoming back. So I really feel good to be among all of you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
And I also thank the participants for the very good participation for the questions. I see the level of questions being so matured and the real concern of doing something. And I can also see our even male participants giving very good feedback and also suggestions in the comment box. And we can see that it gives us a lot of hope that yes, our men are still with us towards equal society. So thank you all for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank you, ma'am.
you.
I'm to wind up now, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.